Good morning. Starting with the disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor. Nothing in this video is financial advice or recommendation to buy or sell any financial product. All content is for informational purposes only, based on personal opinions and experiences. Trading futures, options, and other financial instruments involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for every investor. You can lose more than your initial investment, so always do your own research and consult with a licensed financial professional. Okay, next news. So we've got pretty much just 8:30 today. After 8:30, there's basically not much. We've got API, but that's at 4:30, so that's after the bell anyway. So yeah, like we'll see what happens at 8:30. I don't think this will be too important, but we'll see. PMI didn't do much yesterday, and so yeah, we'll see. I mean, at 8:30 and go from there. As for the actual market, we are in a gap higher today. I added a composite here, as you can see, or a micro composite. So yeah, we're in a gap higher. As for pre-market sheet, we are still one time framing lower on the weekly. I did say we're opening, the current market condition is balanced. We are in a gap which indicates imbalance, but because we're in a gap, but we're in this value area from like a few days ago, we're kind of still in balance. You know, we haven't broken out of anything, even though we are in a gap. So yeah, we didn't fully close the gap from yesterday. We left about 9 ticks in the RTH session. We've still got the same swing high up here. This potentially could be the swing low if the low is in. So if we have a few days where we're trading above, this will become the new swing low. And then we'll see what happens after that. As for yesterday, I said you got a decent excess on both sides. I said the low is a bit weak. You know, like again on the volume profile, not a good taper there. It looks like we were down there a bit too long to consider it a clean rejection in my eyes. Yeah, and that's pretty much it from the sheet. Oh, I'm about to sneeze, sorry. We're moving towards the last complete major swing now. Yeah. As for levels, the levels above us, I put overnight high. I put the 2 prior days highs that I referenced yesterday as well, which we'll go through after. And then as well as the value area highs from these days, which will be probably around here, 59. Yeah, and then pretty much anything above there, you're getting into older, I guess, days that, you know, haven't been retraded since pretty much. So definitely lots of things we can fix up above us. There's lots of stuff to do above us. But obviously we're bound within the 1 RTH session. So yeah, we can't do everything, right? As for levels below us, we've got obviously settle overnight low and the yesterday's high, which would be gap close. Half gap would be probably around here from where we are now. But we'll see. I always check what actual half gap is when the market opens, because half gap, the way I track half gap is as soon as we open, it's from the open to yesterday's high or low, depending on. In this case, because we're gapping up, it's going to be the open to yesterday's high. So then whatever's in the middle is half gap for me. That's how I track it. So yeah, so that's the pre-market sheet. So let's go to the TPO. I didn't open my Epic Pen because it's stupid. But yeah, so like I mentioned before, we left about 9 ticks of gap here. We pretty much checked higher and just buyers could not do anything. they were trying, and then eventually we had a big release lower, and then from there we kind of balanced down here, and then eventually into the more so the end of the day we came back up here, and we balanced again, and we closed in here. Um, yeah, but these were the highs I was referencing. These two highs, as well as these value areas, could be potentially important to test um, today. I did add the composite here because even though we're opening in a gap, because we're in prior value, um, this could be one of those days where we open in a gap and we do just sort of open, we trade, we check low, maybe we get half gap and then we come back up and then no clear direction basically. We just open and we kind of just go sideways. But yeah, gap day, right? So even though we're in a gap higher, it's pretty much the same. Are we going to get a gap and go from here? Boom. Are you going to get a gap and revert? And then from the reversion, are we going to continue? Or are we going to get support and go back higher? Those are the main scenarios pretty much. Potentially, you could see the half gap get support as well. So that's always an option as well. And obviously, like I just said today, we have the nothing scenario on top of that where we just go sideways. As for structure, because we failed to touch prior week's low in the RTH session yesterday, we got a couple ticks away, and we weren't able to get it. It leads me to believe this low could be in for now, potentially even for the week. But at least for now, this low seems to be in, even though it's not a great low. But again, settle, like most gap days, is going to be a key marker for that. If we're holding above settle, yeah, I'm keeping along as the general direction. Not that I won't take short trades again, but it's the general direction until we break settle today. I think the long move could still be in play for the whole day, and potentially for later days if we're holding above it. But at least for today, if we're holding above settle, then I think the long move is not done yet, and whatever it does, it's gonna do. We've got gap close though would also obviously close up the prior day's gap, those 9 ticks we left. So we could make a push for there. The day traders definitely see that as well. But like I said, you've got all this volume here, or at least half for now. But from where, we've got all this volume we're going to have to get through to break to the low side. And on the high side too, because we are in the middle of the composite right now. But that's worth noting as well. And so, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it from the TPO. These gap days, they're pretty much always the same for me, right? I'm always usually looking generally for the same things. I'm looking for reactions in the same areas. As for the 30-minute, yeah, makes sense. You've got a nice belly in here, which lines up with the composite, I'm sure. I don't think it's the exact price, but it's a bit above, but it lines up decently well. And so that's just another thing you're going to have to work through on either side. But in this case right now, for to break lower and close the gap. As you can see from the overnight profile, I'd say overnight inventory is mostly long, maybe 80%, 90%. But we had a very bullish overnight, and so that could easily continue into the RTH session. If we can get away from the value quick enough. If we sit in the value too long, so either the composite, potentially even the overnight value, we could get choppy. But if we can have really a true gap and go, and we can push away early, then I could see us, being more directional today. But if we get stuck in all the volume and all the value, then I think we're more likely to just turn sideways and be more of a slow grind to try and push through on either side to get, whatever it wants to get. Whether it's the prior day's high or the gap close, it doesn't really matter. So, oops. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I can do this. Here's the overnight session. So I figured it out. When I say session, it's because I'm saying RTH session. And it's like going from H, go to RTH session. You're kind of already in the H pronunciation. I figured that out this morning as I kept saying it. Yeah, so as for key levels, like yesterday's low potentially, but probably not key for today at least. Actually, let me give myself a bit more space on the high side. We can remove that. So we'll keep in mind yesterday's low, but we don't need to keep it in. We've got 2 prior highs, and then above that, we've got the 60, 15 high, which I guess we can fit in here like this. 60, 15. Okay, that should be good. So we've got yesterday's low down there, but then we've got settle overnight, which both are going to be key. We've got gap close here. We've got the MCV puck, which let me find the exact price of it. 58.20. 58.20. So around right here. I should have added it to my cloud levels, but it's blocked anyway. Overnight high. Prior high. Or we've got 2 prior highs here actually. Prior high, and then the second one is at 50. Prior high, and then 60, 15. Just right up here is another prior high. So we've got prior high. We've got prior high times 2. Overnight high. We've got a micro composite VPOC here. We've got yesterday's high / gap close. We've got settle plus overnight low. Yeah, so starting with the most bullish scenario would be open, push away from the MCV POC, maybe front runs overnight high on the first push, but pulls back, holds above the MCV POC, and potentially even the value area high of the MCV POC, that then continues higher, breaking overnight high. Overnight high could be an early clue of a gap and go day. And so we'll be watching for that break and see how it breaks. If it's a good break like this and you start trading above it, then yeah, prior highs look pretty good. And then sort of same thing. If you can get a clean break, potentially at this point it gets a bit slower, so you may end up just being sort of stair-stepping your way higher. But basically continuation higher to basically just fix up anything. There's prior highs, there's some naked stuff, but this composite area, we've got the structure's all right. But the highs are going to be important. Like I said, I forgot to mention this, but let me go back quickly. If you see here, these two, I guess not this one, this was news. But if you see here, we opened here near this day's POC and we checked higher and we rejected it and we moved lower. So getting back above these highs and showing, yeah, we do have interest again up here and above will be important, which is why those prior highs are more significant today than I guess they are normally. And so those two are both going to be key resistance areas, as well as this one, but this one's pretty far. Overnight high as well is going to be a key resistance. As for the bearish scenario, again, a clean break below this MCV puck that comes back and checks it and holds would be good for gap close. And then from gap close, obviously is a key support. But if we continue lower, then we've got settle and overnight low, which are another two key levels for today. And if we're below settle overnight low, I'm looking for yesterday's low to get tagged. And then below there is pretty far, so I'm not really going to plan for it. So settle, definitely key. And gap close, also key. And like I said, if we can't get out of this MCV puck area, and we get pulled towards it, I'll draw it from here maybe. We could turn neutral or balanced in this area. So yeah, that's the plan for today. I know they're probably pretty boring now that I just say the same thing every day, but let me just take a screenshot for myself. I'll end this off. Alright, here's the last look at the plan. I forgot to mention I did have no trades yesterday. I didn't end up doing anything. And so that's why there was no end of day video. So no trades on the board for me so far this week. It's only Tuesday though, and we've got no major news today, which is actually I like, as long as there's no surprise news, or unplanned news like with tariffs or, relating with OPEC Plus or anything like that, or Saudi Arabia. But yeah, here's the plan, and I will see what I can do and come back at the end of day if I have any trades, and if not, I will be back tomorrow morning. So see you then.